What's up, everyone? It's your boy Kyle, back for another episode of New Life Furniture. Thanks for joining me once again. So this week I went ahead and picked up a whole bunch of new projects. As you see, here's one behind me. It's a double pedestal, already painted in white, kind of an off-white, almost like an eggshell white. So pretty cool, but not done very well, but that's all right. That'll work in our advantage. Now, this table was from a family with a whole bunch of kids. So you'll see there's a lot of damage to it where the kids were already painting on it and putting a lot of marks and scratches in it. And you'll see down the side, there's a whole bunch. So we got to work on getting those out. So we'll take a lot of time to get that. But otherwise, looks pretty good, nice and sturdy. This is definitely an expensive type piece that you love to get because they're oversized, big. You can easily fit like 6 people around it. So this is a major score for us. Great thing for me is I've already got a client that wants this. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna clean this thing up. We're gonna take our 60 grit sandpaper, knock off some of those kid markings as much as we can, get rid of them, and then accentuate it as we always do with that rustic distressed look. And then we're gonna take our belt sander and really put a lot of time and effort exposing that wood back to the way it should be. And then we'll stain the whole thing with our Jayco Bean mini wax top. Gives us that nice color, and we'll rub that over the whole thing and see how that looks, and then clear coat the whole thing, let it dry, and hopefully it'll go to our customer and she'll love it. She's super excited. She can't wait for this, so I think that'll be a nice addition to her house. And yeah, we only got one day to do it. It's supposed to rain all week, so this is the one day. I've only got about 5 or 6 hours in the day left to get this done. So what we're gonna do now, here's the maneuver. So we got it all wiped down, ready to go. Tried to pick off as much of the debris and tape and things that are stuck onto the table. So now we're gonna do our accents with the 60 grit sandpaper. I like to use this little triangle kind of handheld one. So what we're gonna do is just hit, usually on spots where it's worn the most. So always like on the toe edges, along the rib lines. What I like to do is I don't really go along the whole thing because then it looks almost staged. So I just do like little spurts. Again, if you think too much about it, it looks staged. So you kind of want to just like tap, hit, don't think. If you think, you do it wrong. If you don't think, it turns out nice. Now, when you do these middle base parts, if you don't sand them and just rub the stain, it'll look nice. It'll still kind of darken up over that white, but it won't have any stress lines. So I like to get like right in here. You'll see there's kind of a groove line. Usually I'll do a couple nicks on the groove line. If I do hit the face right here, that will show up. You'll see it's little swirl marks. You don't really see it in the white, but as soon as you put the stain over top of that, it actually will show up. So some people don't like that. I like it. I like when it just looks rustic, but I don't want to do it on every panel. So usually I may do it on one panel, do a lot of the accentuating lines. Right here around the ribs, I kind of tap the front. I don't really like to tap too much around here. Some people want to sand it all. I don't. I kind of just like nick it or touch a little bit sometimes. I'll probably do it on these ones a little bit, but always just getting those lines. So you just take it. Can't do it one hand. So you can see right there, right? We do our little nicks. Don't forget about hitting the bottom part too, because it's an overall look. You'll need that. And when you make the nick, make sure you sit on it for a while. Don't just chip off the white paint. You got to expose the wood underneath and actually eat into the wood, because the stain's got to enter that to make it dark as well. That's how you get that look. But be careful. Don't make it look too cowed. Okay, and that's by doing big patches. If I do tons of simple big patches like this, it's gonna look like I designed it like that. So you wanna make sure that this leg has that, the other side maybe doesn't, the leg next to it doesn't, the one over on the third one maybe has it. So you gotta spread it out. Don't make it too symmetrical, okay? Here's a perfect example. You'll see here, we wiped it all clean, everything got off. There's still some markings, I don't know if you can see it, of kids' pink crayon. So that right here on the base is where you want to rub it off with your sandpaper, but it's going to leave, like I said, when you stain it, there will be those swirl marks that will be exposed. So just keep that in mind as you do it. Okay, so we just took some of it off, not too much because I want to keep some of that white paint on there. So I just lightly hit it. Now I got to think, that's going to be a big kind of black mark. So I probably want to do one on the other side, and I probably want to at least do one on that second other base there. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. So that'll be your exposed part, right? Don't worry about this. We're gonna hit this off. And then like anything, just try to make it fluid, right? See, there's a spot here, so maybe you wanna hit right here. Kind of get a little spot there, right? You'll see over here, a couple more marks right there. See, that'll be our exposed spots right there. Right? And that's kind of how we're going to do it. I've got all the little sanding spots done. We made sure we hit the base here because like I said, we hit it on that other side. And I did a little tap on the side here, so that'll expose and show, right? We hit some of those accent spots. Again, just making some random marks. Okay, make sure you leave some, not too much, some overly done. And then make sure too, don't be lazy, guys. Make sure you hit on this as well, because if you're gonna go over some people's paint jobs, like this person's paint job's terrible, but that's okay. It won't show as much and it may even add, but make sure you put a couple of your own marks so that it looks like it's supposed to look like that, okay? It's supposed to look drastic. We went ahead and hit the sides. Like I said, all the parts first with all the kids' drawings and paints, and then kind of just nicked up certain spots along the way to kind of make it look a little bit more of a flow to it. Sanded down all these tops to get ready. And when we flip this over and we belt sand the top, like I always say, make sure that leaf is inside so that when you do the top, it's all the same look. Because I've had it before where you do this and you do that after, and now when you sand it too much and it absorbs the stain weird and it looks really odd going in there. So make sure everything's together when you're doing the top. That's the most important, is the top. Everything else is kind of hidden, okay? Make sure you guys are safe during this because the belt sander really throws up a lot of dust. I know some of them come with bags. This one is an old school one, like I said, to be cheap. So it doesn't, throws it everywhere. So make sure if you guys can mask up, wear glasses too, because you'll get so many fine particulates in your eyes during the night, it hurts. So make sure you put a little mask on. Be safe, and then we'll hit that up. Shoo-wee, man. Did I underestimate that work? Oh man, that was a lot of work to even get to this part. Just using the 60 grit back and forth multiple times. So that is definitely a hard way to go. Probably got to go out and get some paint remover. I forget what they call it. It's that gel type stuff. I think now it's a gel, and it just removes the paint. You can rub it on the top and then it just falls off. Again, maybe just be careful how you use that. I don't like using chemicals myself, but this much dust in the air is bad for you anyway. So it's all about being fast. So maybe that's a good way to do it. It's probably expensive, I would assume, but maybe it's worth it because again, spending so much time on doing it just to get to this point, and I still got to get that orbital sander, smooth that out, and still get all those little spots. So we didn't get everything out, but we got most of it done. So I think the orbital will get it to where we need. But yeah, you can see it just, I mean, it goes everywhere. Definitely makes a dirtiness if you're doing it in a tight space hard. So if you guys are picking up some tables, have that in mind. Depending on the cost and what you're paying to get it and everything, and if you're picking up free or whatnot, if it's got a painted top, it's going to take you time, a lot more dirtiness and effort than if it's just a non-painted top, but at least you get the painted base. Painted bases is kind of key. Save on some money on some paint, or get it all natural, easy to belt sand the top, paint the bottom yourself. If the whole thing's painted and it's a nice paint or a nice table, you may want to just get some paint stripper. That's the name, paint stripper. And let that thing work on that pole for a while. get that paint off. A lot easier. Have those small aspects in mind as you learn. Woo! Okay, so we went ahead, sanded down all the edges nice and smooth, good roundness to them, and basically that's done. So we'll go ahead, flip the table upside down, and we'll start adding all the stain and basically have this thing almost done and prepped, ready for clear coat. Woo-wee! Okay, so we flipped the table. Again, low on time, so we got to rush and hurry this up, make sure we get this done. So we take our Jacobine, okay? Again, just take a cloth or some sort of Bounty paper towel sheet, soak it in there nice, right? Make sure you get a lot, okay? And I'm gonna start from the bottom. So I'm gonna do all the bottoms and the sides, then I'm gonna flip it, finish off the top, okay? That's usually how I do it. So, like I said, I wanna get all this done. Make sure that you get a nice thick coat, like I said, get it really in those edges. That's the key part, get it all over. Don't worry about it. Get it into all your edges. Really just rub it in those edges, okay? So like I said, you're gonna look at that and go, oh, no. Don't worry about it. Make sure you get it into all those cracks, right? Get it all those grooves. That's the key part, is getting it into all those grooves. And don't do too much, remember, do it in small parts. So just like that, good enough. Now you take your rag and you're just gonna wipe it out. Boom. Just like that. Looks old and rustic. Okay, so let's keep going and do the rest. Okay, y'all, so we got it finished. We just stained all the base and I was able to throw it inside the shop. So we beat the rain today, which is great. Oh, sounds like someone's in trouble. Sounds like some sort of ambulance is gonna be ripping on by pretty quick. Nope, might be my neighbor getting hurt. I hope he's okay. Anyways, yeah, so we got this inside. Check it out, looking pretty good. Exactly as I said, all the scratch marks, everything just looks old and rustic. Really came out good with those spots. And we got the top done. So let's go ahead and start throwing some of that Jacobine by Mini Wax. What do I got? The French side out. Mini Wax wood finish. Jacobine. There you go. Oh yeah, it's really taking that. We did a good sand. This is really gonna come out nice. Let's really check that out. Get it all over those edges, right? Careful as it splatters. But look at that, y'all. Look at that, coming out nice. Get a little wipe down. Look at that. Ooh, that is gonna be nice. So let's go ahead, finish the rest. Again, I got the leaf in, like I said, and we're gonna put it on nice and heavy. And all I'm using is just a rag to wipe it up. Still using the same old Bounty sheet rag to throw it down. So let's keep going. Okay, now this is a good point to show you guys as you get to that spot where maybe you want to get some of these parts that weren't as easy to get when it was on the ground. This is a good opportunity where you can just go ahead, reach those little parts. Okay, so we got that done. Check it out, y'all. Great looking table. This is a definite winner. This is good stuff, y'all. That's what you want. These are awesome pickups. If you can find big, long lengths like that, really wide, sturdy base. I mean, that's a high price ticket item. So you're gonna get a nice return on that, depending on obviously your clientele and where you're situated, but you should be able to get a several hundred, couple hundred for that for sure. Okay, so I went out and grabbed a new polyurethane. It's Varathane Premier. It's gloss and it's water-based, so it should go on real easy. and it comes off your fingers, or if you drop it on anything, real easy with just water. So I think that's the way to go. I try to get a clear coat that's water-based, that doesn't have an amber tint to it, because I really like to just add no extra coloring to my designs. I just want to have like a real glossy, strong, protective clear coat on it. But it's up to you. If you guys want to deal with oil bases with a little bit of amber tint, you can do that as well. But here's what we went ahead and got. We'll go ahead and slap on the base, finish with the top, so we can just let it dry and cure for 24 hours. Let's go ahead and do it. Make sure you go over it in one direction, just like I said, all the way. All the way, that way. This stuff is supposed to be self-leveling with no brush marks, but I always like to just make sure that at least we're not going to have any weird lines. Boom. That's how you do it right there. So we got a nice, heavy, thick coat on everything. That's what you want. Do not touch it. Don't let your cat in the garage, and just let that nice settled. Here we go. Get a nice angle. See? And then when you go back, you can be like, whoops, right? Always take a second to just look at your work when you're finished. Just take a second to take a look. Okay, so it's the next day. We're checking in on our table after using that new clear coat Varathane. Now, I was thinking about that Varathane, and I knew I wanted a polyurethane, but I thought for some reason that Varathane was just the name of the company, and it was a polyurethane. Either way, it was just a Varathane, which doesn't really give you that crystal hard, thicker coating, I find. So when I look at it, you know, it's great, looks good, it's good protection. It's just not as lustrous and as glossy and thick coated as I like. So I'm gonna redo this table again, clear coating it with some mini wax, water-based polyurethane, and it's got fast dry, fast everything. So let's go ahead and redo that table and throw a big old polyurethane coat on it. And I think we're gonna get what I have on most of my other products or projects, is more of see how just glossier that is. Can you guys pick that up on the, it's just glossier. There's something about it. So we'll go ahead and throw that on there and check that out, and you guys will see the results. Okay, y'all, so we just finished with that polyurethane clear coat, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what we want. Look at that. That's the kind of shine that you want to have bouncing off your furniture pieces. Want to make sure you put quality in your work, as you and me are always learning every day how to make things better. But don't give up, and make sure that you always, if you can do better, then do better. That should be our motto for New Life Furniture. Trying to make things back as good as they were, if not better. Why? Because you can, and that's how you make the money. Ooh-wee!